Hello, my fair citizens. My name is Strider Stone. I'm the mayor of Sodium City, and today we have a ton of Magic Arena news. So let's hop into it. So this is the state of formats in MTG Arena. So hopefully this article will prove my point that Explorer is the worst format in all of Magic Arena and will continue to be the worst format in all of Magic the Gathering, period. As we approach Magic the Gathering's 5th anniversary, we want to look at the current state of Constructed and discuss how we approach our formats. When we released MTG Arena, we had exactly one Constructed format, Standard. True. 5 years on, we support 6 formats, too many. Effectively adding one new format per year, too many. In that time, millions of Magic players have come to our game, too many. No, I'm just kidding. Some have played Magic for decades and others just learning the game. Some players are eager for a churning meta, me mainly, where they need to steadily tweak and change their deck to keep up, and others want stability, where they can pick a single deck and play it for years. We call these people lame. I don't know how to explain people like that. I can't imagine playing the same deck for years and years with like no changes. The only changes that would be made would be what you're playing up against. But for the most part, you're not even changing anything of your own deck. You're literally just playing the same cards. There's no creativity. There's no differences. Playing the same deck for like 2 or 3 years until something rotates out and then you do something else. Or you play an Eternal format like Modern and then you're playing the same deck for literally 15 years, which is mind-boggling to me. I will never, ever understand that. But at the same point, I don't have the same thought about people who play things like Counter-Strike, because the maps don't change, the guns don't change, like nothing really changes. The meta kind of changes a little bit here and there, but when it comes to games like Counter-Strike, it's just like, I don't know, for some reason it just feels way different to me, I think. I don't know why. MTG Arena's wide variety of players makes it beautiful, and the reasons we play are just as unique. True. Our goal is to support as many play preferences as we can while maintaining healthy and diverse matchmaking pools. This is what drives our format philosophy. There's an inherent tension there. Giving more players the mode they want will often mean creating new formats, which is annoying, but will fragment the matchmaking pools, which is annoying, leading to lower player counts in them, longer matchmaking times, and worse matches like cross-rank pairing. Now, this I don't mind. I would rather have longer queues to go up against people who are of my same ELO or same ranking than just getting an instant queue against somebody that is, like, if I was 3,000 rated and I want to get instant matches, but nobody's available near my rating, so I go up against a 1,500 ELO player, and I end up losing because I get mana screwed for 2 games in a row in a best of 3. So my ELO goes down like 500 points. It gets a little ridiculous. It gets a little ridiculous. But to solve this, we try to offer a balanced spread of formats to cover many player motivations as possible, while keeping the overall numbers of formats low enough to support speedy, high-quality matchmaking. Now, this is exactly why they have Standard and Historic in the same exact, like, Bronze, Silver, all the way to Mythic, right? They don't have individual queues for that. They basically have Constructed and Limited. And that's it. There's not individual rankings for each individual one, which I dislike. But they're the ones adding all the ridiculous extra formats that don't need to be added. At this point, I mean, they put in Alchemy because they didn't want to ban all of the cards from Eldraine. Let's be honest. That's what they initially made it for. And then they're like, ooh, we could take this opportunity to make a bunch of digital-only cards. So they decided to do that, but then they put all those cards into Historic, which to me is fine because I like the changes. I like the constant changing. It keeps me on my feet. It allows me to brew more frequently, blah, 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 blah. I like all of that. But now they're changing the way Alchemy is done to where it doesn't have the same rotation as Standard. Alchemy is essentially its own world at this point, and I don't think it should exist. Historic is essentially what Alchemy should be. Alchemy should just not be. It's like Standard Brawl. It should just not exist. Tabletop and digital, rotating and non-rotating. We group our main formats around two axes, tabletop, digital, and rotating / non-rotating. Digital is Alchemy and Historic, as well as Brawl and Historic Brawl. I actually don't know if you can use Alchemy cards in Brawl in Standard. No, because it's Standard Brawl. So shouldn't Brawl be in Tabletop with Explorer? Because Explorer isn't like an official format. It doesn't use any of the Alchemy cards, but I didn't think maybe Standard Brawl does. Maybe it uses Alchemy cards too. I have no idea. Let me know in the comment section below. I've never played Standard Brawl because I think it's terrible, but Brawl doesn't quite fit on these axes, and I'll talk about it more below. Okay, never mind then. Don't let me know in the comment section below then. Fine. Our tabletop formats prioritize parity with how tabletop Magic is played because we know many players that want a similarity. For Standard, we have total parity, and for Explore, which is based on Pioneer, we're working towards supporting at least all of the cards that are frequently played. When needed, the tool to maintain balance in these formats is banning cards, with those decisions matching Tabletop. Now, the frequently played is all entirely based off of tournament play for the most part, because everybody who plays Pioneer are tryhards. Same with Modern. They're all tryhards. There's no like fresh brewers doing anything super crazy like, whoa, I've never seen that before, unless you're talking about somebody like Aspiring Spike, who is like the only creative person in that realm. There might be some more. Maybe there are more. Let me know in the comments section below if somebody is completely blowing everybody's mind when it comes to brewing in the older formats. Let me know. Because as far as I know, Aspiring Spike is the only one that even comes close. As I said, frequently played basically just means we're adding in the tournament cards. So once you go into Explorer before it gets into Pioneer, all we're doing is we're adding the Pioneer decks that are run in tournaments and winning in tournaments. And so all you're going to do on Arena is play Pioneer decks against Pioneer tournament decks. So the restrictions on brewing in Explorer are non-existent. Explorer is by far the worst format in Magic Arena, and it will forever be the worst format in Magic Arena, period. Once it adds maybe like 10 to 12 more sets, it could be manageable or it could be okay. I don't know. Explorer is terrible. Explorer is terrible, period. Pioneer, I don't know. I've talked with people that say they hate Pioneer. That was the first thing I heard about Pioneer about 4 or 5 years ago, kind of like when I started streaming. Everyone hated Pioneer. And now everyone wants Pioneer in MTG Arena, but all the people that are saying they want Pioneer in MTG Arena, none of them seem to actually play Pioneer in paper, which is odd to me. I digress. Working towards supporting at least all the cards that are frequently played. When needed, the tool to maintain balance in these formats is banning cards with those decisions matching Tabletop. Pretty normal. That makes sense. It's obvious. These formats are great for players who are both in Tabletop and MTG Arena. MTG Arena, I believe, was a tool that was initially just there for people to play test tournament decks. I'm pretty sure that's what MTG Arena was initially intended for, so you don't have to go to a hotel, proxy a bunch of cards with a bunch of your friends, and play test and cram overnight for a tournament before you submit your deck. I'm pretty sure that's why MTG Arena was made. It was just a really, really cheap alternative to do that because Moto, you still had to own all the cards, right? Or players who started with Tabletop and want to continue playing familiar formats in the digital space. Digital formats are where we lean into MTG Arena's digital nature and we leverage some of the tools that only exist in digital play. Digital game engagement is different from physical games, particularly in terms of the very high rate of play and ease of sharing knowledge, which means that metagames can be solved more quickly. Many digital games have developed ways to solve this, and MTG Arena digital format lets Magic use those tools as well, yet none of this shit happens. You promised us that this shit would happen, and none of it has happened. Essentially what they said a while ago, they said historic will get balances every single month, and there will be new injections of specifically historic and alchemy sets in between every major set. And none of that has come through fruition. It did for 1 month, actually. They missed the first month, and then they did it, and then they did it the next month, I think. And that was it. That was the end of that promise. For our digital formats, Alchemy and Historic were able to use tools like rebalancing, more frequent content drops, to keep the metagame healthier, more fluid, and more diverse. Our data shows that these tools are helping achieve these goals and making these formats attractive and healthy place for our digital focused players. See, this is good because digital focused players, I think, is where you're going to be making the majority of your money. It's where I would assume a lot of your main player base is going to be. Maybe not in tournaments, but probably through a lot of your actual player base. It's where they're going to be. It's where you're going to make your money because those formats are eternal formats, meaning they're going to have to pay more. But these are also really good because, like I said before, every successful long-term online video game revolves around a lot of changes. There's updates weekly, updates bi-weekly. There's always something changing that keeps the metagame fresh, whether it's a new character in a game like League of Legends, whether it's a new map in a game like Valorant, or a new character there, or a new gun, or I don't know, name the successful video game, a new fighting game character, a new just anything, just name it. Name a successful game, and Magic doesn't do it, right? The difference is that obviously tabletop format elitists hate digital cards for whatever reason. Even though MTG Arena is a collectible card game and not a trading card game, they don't care. They just despise the fact that digital games cannot have digital cards. And I just will never understand. I've never heard a solid argument against alchemy cards. Not a single person has given me a valid argument. Now, the only argument that I've heard that is valid is against the economy. Now, the economy of these formats, I totally understand because you have to buy the alchemy sets, you have to buy the historic sets, you have to buy all this other stuff. But that has nothing to do with the digital cards. That has something to do with the economy. Because hypothetically, if they just gave you those cards for free, would you have the same complaints? Everyone says yes. Therefore, that is not a real complaint. So if you have a real legitimate complaint about digital cards in Magic the Gathering universe, let me know in the comment section below, because I will probably have a legitimate discussion with... I've had it in stream multiple times. I've still never encountered anyone to give me a legitimate argument. But yes, maintain tabletop formats, even though it probably doesn't make them as much money as Magic Arena. Because I know that the authenticity and parity is something many players value. I don't understand. Like, you have Standard, you have Modern, you have Pioneer, you have Legacy, you have all this stuff. Now we have a digital only game that's a collectible card game, and you're upset about adding digital only cards because it makes other people happy and it changes the metagame too frequently. And since you really like paper formats, you can't play them on paper or something. Here's a sample of play distribution among MTG Arena's main formats for a recent month. Okay. This is so stupid. So stupid. Anybody who does statistics know that you never do stats for 1 month. That proves borderline zero information. Because we don't know, first of all, it says for a recent month. We don't know what month this is. It could be standard is really high because this is when a new set just dropped. Or historic could be high because this is when historic sets just dropped. There's so many different variables here. If we don't have a date of when this came out, what are we supposed to do with this information? There's not even real numbers here. It's like 40% of the games. How many games? And Brawl, it doesn't even separate it into standard Brawl and historic Brawl. Why are you not doing multiple months? Why are you not giving us a month range? Like, you're just giving us percentages. This is literal dog shit information. Whoever put together this, Jay Parker, go to a stats class. Stats 101. Go. And then come back and rewrite this article. This shows a healthy distribution that may look... No, it looks healthy for 1 month. Why did you cherry pick 1 month? Like, you're using the data and you're not providing it to us. All of this is historic Brawl, except for 1% is standard Brawl. Then Brawl is still, like, historic Brawl still outperforms Alchemy. Or it's the same, maybe? These are in increments of 5, so probably. But we don't have exact numbers. And it's not even like an interactive graph that I can mouse over it and it shows me the exact percentages. Like, it's not giving you any real information. If it's a recent month, no new standard sets has come out in like 4 or 5 months outside of the one that came out, whatever, a week ago. And new historic and explorer sets came out. So that would show a boom of historic and explorer and alchemy and brawl. So it would boost all of these numbers, which would inherently lower these numbers because it's based on percentage and not actual numbers. Yeah, they're cherry picking information. This is just actually ridiculous because every individual has their own taste and every community has its own leanings. This can be expected. The important thing to remember is that everyone is right about what they prefer, and our job on MTG Arena is to provide the best experience as many players as we can. No. Everyone is right what they prefer, and they're right to their opinion. But I go back to my digital-only cards statement. Digital-only cards affects nobody. If you don't want to play a digital-only format, don't play the digital-only format. If you don't like the format, don't play the format. It's really, really, really simple. I don't like Legacy. I'm not complaining about it. I don't like Modern. I'm not complaining about it. I don't like Explorer. I think it's a dog shit format, and they're wasting their time on it. I guess that's me complaining about it, but that's more me complaining about the community complaining about it so much that they're forced to put it in. Our job at MTG Arena is to provide the best experience to as many players as we can. We balance our efforts across the whole player base, which means we end up spending more time and resources on parts of the game that impact the more players. Which obviously makes sense. If more people are going to be paying money on a specific format, then they're going to focus more on that specific format. Obviously. We love the wide variety of the ways Magic gets played, and we want to support that variety as much as we can, but we cannot tackle everything at once. This is also obviously true. And you can't just sit there and be like, oh, we should just hire like 50 more developers, because that's just not how it works. It's going to take 3 to 6 months to train up one developer to get familiar with everything that they want to do or everything that they need to do. And that's going to be like one developer, right? You can get a really good developer in about 3 months' time to be really focused on a good project and get it going and get it done. But that's difficult, right? It's usually going to take about 3 to 6 months to get them fully trained and not have any problems or not have any questions. Something to where they can work independently of themselves without any problems, right? That's usually how long it takes almost for any job, right? So you can't just randomly hire 50 developers and be like, cool, we're starting this. Which is why I said a while ago, they just need to hire 250 developers and start a new client from the ground up. The current MTG Arena just has way too much technical debt and they can't fix it. MTG Arena was initially programmed by 15 people, and it just wasn't enough. It's too big of a project at this point that they had to keep adding on top of it because it exploded way more than they ever expected it to. It's difficult to go back and fix technical debt. It's hard. Standard. MTG Arena framing. Tabletop analog that rotates to keep 3 years of cards for gradual metagame shifts. I still like this, but the thing is, we're not going to see this officially kick in. Technically, we're not going to see what exactly it looks like until 4 years, because we have to wait for this current set of Eldraine to rotate out, because this set of Eldraine was not designed for a 3-year rotation. So keep that in mind. We're not going to know exactly what that 3-year rotation looks like until the sets that were designed for the 3-year rotation are the only sets that are designed for that 3-year rotation. Standard is the most popular format on Arena, accounting for the largest share of games played in the various queues, ranked play, and so on. Graph shown above is prior to rotation. Standard is still the clear leader. Yes, it is the clear leader. But I would be interested to see data from MTG Melee to see the turnouts for the standard events, the historic events, the brawl events, Alchemy Explorer, etc. Just to see how many people sign up, how many people show up, how many events are ran, period. Maybe the overall prize pool to see what format is actually more attractive in a competitive way as well. I would like to see that information. That would be interesting to see. I'm sure it would still be standard. Starting this year, we're extending the rotation window for standard, so that includes 3 years of sets. We think these changes help give standard more interesting mix of archetypes, more vitality, and more stability. I agree with this. Standard on MTG Arena stays at total parity with tabletop standard, matching all rules, card pools, bans, and so on. This makes it for a great format player who choose. Obviously, it's standard. It's the same format. It's going to do the same thing. That's just, obviously. That's why they don't call it Commander. That's why they call it Brawl. Brawl is a lot different than Commander. Similarly to tabletop, or players who are looking for a metagame that still shifts but more slowly, so you can play and see a similar mix of decks for a longer period of time. Overall, great format for all our players. Explorer. MTG Arena framing. Tabletop format based on Pioneer and getting steadily closer to parity. Explorer is based on Pioneer, and though it lacks the full card pool, it follows the same rules, ban list, and changes that Pioneer does, while continuing to build out the card pool, focusing primarily on the cards that are important for the competitive metagame, but with a few other fan favorites sprinkled in as well. I don't know who picks these fan favorites. Did they do votes for that? What are these fan favorites? I must have missed this. Let me know in the comment section below where they or how they pick these fan favorites. I'm interested in that. I don't know. Maybe they did polls and I missed that completely. When we introduced Explorer last year, we said it would take several years to get into parity with competitive Pioneer. We're still on track with that. I think we'll be able to achieve this in late 2024 or early 2025. So yeah, and this is just competitive Pioneer. So all this is going to do is this is going to allow you to play your competitive Pioneer decks and completely disallow you from brewing, because you're only going to get stomped by meta net decks. That's it. We know that this is a longer timeline than Explorer players want, but as the graph above shows, our players are spread across a variety of formats, and we need to balance our work across all of them. Yeah, just scrap it. It's such a dogshit format. Currently, Explorer fully supports a wide range of Pioneer archetypes, and many more are playable with some minor swaps to their usual cards. Trash. The addition of Khans of Tarkir later this year will help expand the format more, bringing treasure cruise, dig through time, several key delve creatures, and more. Yeah, we're going to see a lot more delve in historic. Alchemy. MTG Arena framing. Digital format that rotates to keep 2 years of cards, faster moving metagame. Working with Magic design team on a format management in the early days of Magic Arena, it was very clear that MTG Arena players and tabletop players were looking for different things in rotating format. From the tabletop players, keep hearing a desire for more stability, while the digital players wanted to move things and change more quickly. Yes, because that's what all video games do. All good video games. MTG Arena is a video game. Keep that in mind. It is a video game based on a card game. This is a key driver behind the creation of Alchemy, to create a format that moved at a digital pace and used digital tools to keep things fair, fluid, and fun. Alchemy also gives us the opportunity for MTG Arena engineers to work alongside Magic designers, so we can identify card behaviors that are new but also straightforward for us to implement for MTG Arena. And since these cards are only for MTG Arena, we can work with those Magic designers to tweak the language on the cards, make adding new cards to Alchemy easier than most any other format, and much easier than backlist sets. So a lot of the digital only cards have weird wording to them, but there's a lot of those cards that can be worded differently to make them transition into paper as well. So do keep that in mind. That is something that can be done. Not for everything, like Seek. Seek would never be able to be done unless you had like a third party that would always seek for you somehow. They would have to do something really weird with that. It would be odd. But yeah, we've been happy with how Alchemy has played out so far. The metagame has stayed open and diverse with a good amount of change, even week to week. We feel like this is creating an interesting and engaging format, with play rate trends back this up, with both new and veteran players shifting to the format. So from what I hear, this is actually true. That Alchemy is probably the most diverse format out of all of the formats, which kind of wouldn't surprise me, because Historic is essentially mono red, elves, Selesnya life gain, mono white life gain, mono black Shieldred, maybe Azorius control sprinkled in here and there, and that's about it. And that's pretty much how it's been for the last 2 years. It's been getting real stale real quick. The release of Wilds of Eldraine, Alchemy gained another difference from Standard this year, as Standard shifts a 3-year rotation and Alchemy remains 2 years, which is still weird to me. I mean, I get that they want it to move at the pace of the digital only, where they want the metagame to change all the time, but it was still designed to be in parity with Standard, because then they could ban and change cards that were in Standard that were always causing people problems in Standard. Like, again, they made Alchemy because drain, and they didn't want to ban all the cards. They were like, okay, we'll make a format and just make it to where this whole set will rotate out 2 months ahead of time. We'll just call it Alchemy. That's what they did. This difference will help diversify each format's audience to help Alchemy continue delivering a quick, moving, diverse, balanced metagame build to an appeal both newer players and digital-focused or high play rate veterans, while Standard continues to match tabletop authenticity. I think that's fine, but whatever. Historic. MTG Arena framing, non-rotating digital format with curated set of cards to ensure balance, diversity, and fun. Historic began several years ago as the place to play with all your cards on MTG Arena, and with a plan to use curated editions of cards to create unique digital format with its own feel, decks, and metagame. We're extremely happy with the way Historic has grown into a phone. Historic has grown into a phone. Oh my god. It's grown into a fun, diverse format. Sits somewhere between Pioneer and Modern in power level. Interesting. We're especially happy about the variety in the format and love seeing decks like Shrines, Slivers, or thematic decks trying into universes beyond. They didn't even mention my land destruction here. Me and you got beef, Jay Parker. I don't like your shitty graphs, and I don't like your leaving out land destruction. We're especially happy about the variety in formats and love seeing decks like Shrine, Slivers, or thematic decks trying into universes beyond storyline jump up the archetype charts. Oh! The strong play numbers for Historic, where it is our second most popular format and growing, let us know that there are a lot of players that find the format fun as well. Yes. Early in Historic's life, it went through several large changes. Additions like Strixhaven, School of Mages, Mystical Archives, the original Jumpstart, and other tabletop innovations upset existing metagames, which was cool. Going forward, we're going to be slightly more careful with that, what we're allowing into Historic because we think it's in a good place and don't want... Dude, but... Historic was supposed to be that. That's what you said Historic was supposed to be. Historic was supposed to be an ever-changing format. You were supposed to make balance changes every month. You were supposed to be releasing extra cards in between every major set. And now it's like the complete opposite. You're literally killing Historic. I might have to go to Standard because this is stupid as shit. Whoever is making this decision right here is actually stupid. They're like, everyone liked Mystical Archive. Everyone liked Jumpstart. Everyone liked all this cool stuff we did in Historic. We're not doing it anymore. To be sure, upcoming editions like Modern Horizons 3 will have a large impact on Historic, bringing many powerful new cards. We like the fundamental power space that Historic is occupying. However, we don't want to shift that by a huge leap, so we'll continue managing what cards enter the format, as you saw with the pre-ban Enchanting Tale cards. Yeah. Chiefly, we want to ensure that Historic stays balanced, diverse, and fun for a wide range of players. I agree, but you should still be changing up the metagame. You should still be balancing cards. Like, pre-banning these Enchanting Tale cards, just like, why bring them to the game? Just make a different card that does something similar, slightly more expensive, slightly less powerful, blah, blah, blah. What you've been doing with Alchemy and Historic for the last 3 years, 2 years. But for cards that aren't even in the game yet, just make a new card. You're already making new cards in Alchemy and stuff. Why even put them in the game to pre-ban them? Historic Brawl and Brawl. MTG Arena framing. Fun and casual format with singleton decks built around commanders. Last time we talked about formats, we focused on discussing our 4 primary MTG Arena formats that left players wondering where their favorite format Brawl fit in. Yeah, the last time they showed us a graph like this, Brawl wasn't even on it. Literally, it wasn't even on it. And this doesn't even show anything about Limited. We have no idea where Limited is as far as games played. Limited could be here, or Limited could be like way up here. Because this is all percentage based and queue play by format. We focused on discussing the 4 primary MTG Arena formats, but left players wondering where their favorite format Brawl will fit in. The last 12 months or so, Brawl has grown notably and now represents a decent chunk of our play. In particular, we are seeing more players who really focus on Brawl play as opposed to treating it as a side dish for their regular main course format. Play data above shows combined of both normal Brawl and Historic Brawl, but Historic Brawl is the overwhelming bulk of the play. Why wouldn't you just separate it then? Is it because Standard Brawl is at like 1% and you couldn't fit it in your graph? With Brawl, we're generally looking to support a variety of playstyles because we know that players enjoy wide range of commanders and power levels. Quickly saw that some commanders are much stronger than others, so we use commander-based matchmaking and Brawl modes to ensure that players can find a fair and fun match, whichever commander they want to use. Because of this imbalance, we have focused on casual rather than ranked queue for Brawl, which I can mostly agree with. I think they could still have a rank. I mean, what's the difference between a ranked Brawl and a non-ranked Brawl, or a ranked Brawl and a ranked Standard, or ranked Historic? You're still going to see the same 3 to 5 decks. every single time. You're going to see the same 3 to 5 commanders every single time. It's like, if you don't want ranked, then just go and play, and then have the commander-based matchmaking in play, or ban those specific commanders from play queue. I don't know. I'm fine without a competitive brawl queue. They really just don't want long wait times, because a lot of people complain about long queue times just in general, and people complain about a lot of stuff with Arena, and I think they just don't want that. When we launched MTG Arena into open beta, okay, so it was open beta 5 years ago. So yeah, I guess I have been playing for almost 5 years. No, I think I started in January, so not quite 5 years, almost there. We had 1 format in our queue, standard. Now we currently have 5. Clearly, expansion has been the historical pattern. This isn't likely to continue at that rate. I think we've got a spread of formats that provide a good balance that covers player motivations and preserves healthy queues. Wait, hold on. Clearly, expansion has been the historical pattern, but this isn't likely to continue at that rate. So they don't want to do a new format every year, is basically what they're saying, which is perfectly fine. Except they're going to be adding in Pioneer and getting rid of Explorer. Just more of a replacement than anything. I think we've got a spread of formats that would provide a good balance that covers player motivations and preserves healthy queues. While we have seen player interest in Modern on MTG Arena, especially after our recent announcements at Gen Con regarding Modern Horizons 3, this isn't something we can currently have in our plans. Simply too large of a content gap there for us to close anytime soon. That doesn't mean no changes, though. For example, both Standard and Alchemy will be seeing their roles shift a bit as we start to feel the impact of new rotation schedules, and we may see things there that make us want to adjust. We're also starting to accumulate several cards that are too powerful or disruptive for Historic, which is something we are thinking about. We're also talking actively about what else we can do to help excite, support Brawl players as we see them become a larger segment of the population. Everyone wants Commander. Everyone. We know you can't support it on your platform. Unfortunately, you have to tell people. Again, you haven't told anybody. The only reason that anybody knows that you cannot do it on your current platform is because there was a developer that talked about it in a Discord chat, and that message got leaked. That's the only reason we know. Now, unless that developer was lying or something drastically changed with the development of the game, which I don't believe happened considering the same bugs have been in there for a very long time, it would be a big shock to me anyway. It would be a big shock to me. Although the removing of any new animations to cards does push that narrative forward that it could be done. They would, if there is an actual commander thing, what they would have to do is they would legitimately have to remove all animations of cards. They would have to fix the stack the way that looks. They would have to do a lot of optimization, and yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. MTG Arena's format offerings will continue to adapt and positively grow as players continue to shift how they're playing. Our goals will remain the same: provide healthy, active matchmaking to the widest range of players we can. Cool. And I do have a video about all their matchmaking stuff. There's a lot of tinfoil hat nonsense that goes on about matchmaking and blah, blah, blah in the shuffler. So that'll be it. The card should pop up at the top right of the video somewhere, and you can click on that to get the actual information on what's going on with that. Overall takeaways: the information that they're giving us is dog shit. This is all PR nonsense. They're not giving us any information here. This is literally just describing, it's just the state of the formats, I guess. The state of the formats from one cherry-picked month that gives us no actual numbers. This is a terrible article. I feel like I just wasted everyone's time in this video. All right, maybe Clayton Crow has something way better to tell us. Come on, Clayton. It's up to you. It's up to you to pick it up. Pick up the pieces. The new set is here. New cards, avatars, card styles, pets, picks, set master rewards, and of course events with Wilds of Eldraine. Oh boy. There's so much. Also, did you log in to get your renewal egg rewards? If not, they're there to claim. Log in. Celebrate 5 years of MTGA on the 27th, which is in 15 days from now. Oh, 2018. Arena 15 days minus 5 years from now. Arena's been open beta, offering Magic players a new way to enjoy standard gameplay online. Our guiding principle was then and still is now to bring fast, fun Magic to anyone, anywhere. Yep, 5 years has passed. 5 more formats have been added, including formats unique to digital game, and millions of players have logged in to enjoy own individual ways. I wonder what the active, they're like millions of players. What about active players? How many players are logging in monthly? What are your monthly active users? Can you give us numbers? Can you show us that graph? What are you not? I mean, I know I'm never going to get this information, and it's really sad. We want to commemorate this journey with you all, so we're throwing a little celebration with cool stuff over the next couple weeks. State of formats. Jay Parker's state of the formats. Okay, we already looked at. Tomorrow, which is today. Weekly MTG, September 19th, Discord chat with Jay Parker and Ian Adams. That is a week from today. So next week's weekly MTG. Stop by the Discord channel and chat. Okay, so I might actually have to do this because I'm going to have to ask why Jay Parker's stats are such dog shit. I'll have to put it in a way that maybe I'll actually get an answer or get an acknowledgement. Maybe if I could get at least an acknowledgement of that's all we can give you, which is probably all I'll get at best. Anyway, in-game rewards starting September 19th, so a week from today. Now we're getting into the tasty bits. We're giving away in-game rewards. Oh my God. For the first time ever. You'll find goodies in your player inbox. Deal with MTG Arena. Okay, cool. So what do we get? Now, timeline to build your skills with new sets when we approach Arena Open Wilds of Eldraine. Happen this weekend, September 16th, 17th. You won't even need a well-stocked collection to be competitive because the tournament features limited formats, sealed best of 1 and best of 3 on day 1, and traditional best of 3 on day 2, and all you need is your Magic skill. I suck at draft. It's never happening. I'm good at sealed. Terrible at draft. Top prize of $2,000 invitation to the October qualifier weekend. It's weird to me that the tournaments are all over the place. They're like, yeah, you get invited to this tournament because you qualified with draft, but the tournament is modern. And you're like, wait, what? It's just so weird. Plus, everyone who enters will receive Talion. It's a cool sleeve for all you sleeve collectors out there. Check out all the Arena Open details. Start participating in the limited events now. Okay, claim up to 4K bonus XP during September. Playing WPN events. Okay. We're almost halfway through September now. Have you played in a Magic event at a local WPN game store? If you haven't, you're losing. So they're incentivizing going to your actual local game store, which I do like. I think that's kind of cool. 1,000 XP every time you enter an event, up to 4. So like 4 Friday Night Magics. I mean, you only get XP, which is kind of cringe. You should get like a pack or something. They're not giving away anything. They're not actually giving away anything. 4K XP. I mean, it's nice that they're encouraging you to go to your local game store, but for 1,000 XP, you have to enter in a Friday Night Magic. You don't even get like if you max out the 4,000 and you do another one, you get a custom sleeve, or not a custom sleeve, but you get a sleeve, or you get extra packs or something to actually incentivize you. They're so against real incentives, Midweek Magic events. Wilds of Eldraine constructed, Explorer, Brothers War Draft, On the Edge, Quick Draft, March, Wilds of Eldraine, Brothers War, Wilds of Eldraine. Other events, Wilds of Eldraine Sealed, Dark Tutelage Alchemy, Season of Growth Standard, Gift Bag Historic. I don't know what almost any of that means, but I don't play any of that. But there's your events if you care about those events. Premier play schedule. All times listed are Pacific times. Qualifier events. These links to all this will be in the description below, by the way, so you can get those. There's single-day tournaments in which players compete, earn invitations to that month's qualifier weekend events, which is really cool. Qualifier weekend events are 2-day events in which eligible players compete for invitations of upcoming arena championship events. Check out standings and who is qualified for Arena Championship 4. Qualifier tokens are delivered to your MTG Arena inbox. Remember to claim them before the event starts. Remember that. Qualifier play-in, best of 1, September 23rd. Qualifier play-in, best of 3, September 29th. Qualifier weekend is September 30th. So the Arena Open day 1 entry window begins at 6 a.m. California time and closes to new entries the following day at 3 a.m. California time. The day 2 entry window is 2 hours only from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. California time. Okay, Arena Open, Wilds of Eldraine Limited. So September 16th, day 1 is sealed, best of 1 and best of 3. We looked at that earlier. Day 2 is draft, best of 3 only. Arena Championship 4. It's invitation only, 2-day virtual event that players who earn invitations through qualifier weekend events. Championship 4, October 7th and 8th. That is coming up pretty soon. It's like 2 weeks after MTGCon Vegas, right? Format, historic, Wilds of Eldraine. See, look at it. You're playing sealed best of 1 or best of 3, and then you're doing draft best of 3, going into historic and Wilds of Eldraine best of 3. It's just weird to me. In order to I mean, is that the way it should be? In order to be the best, you have to be the best at every format? Because they always talk about, hey, you know, we want everyone to enjoy every format, but if there's a format that you don't enjoy, then just don't interact with it. Don't do it. And that's my opinion too. But if you want to be competitive, you're forced to interact with every format. And you're forced to be competitive at every format. You're forced to be the best at every format. Seems kind of stupid to me. They should just be individual. But if they're individual, it would require more work. And then they might actually have to hire people to do the tournaments. They might actually have to pay judges because they don't pay judges, right? Yeah, the judges have to pay for certificates and they don't get paid. That's funny. Other companies run the tournaments. I don't even know what WotC does, honestly. Outside of allow them to run the tournaments, they may give them some boxes. Maybe a little bit of prize money, maybe. Oh my God. Anybody who does competitive paper Magic is so stupid. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry. I digress. Okay. The ranked season. So you get 1 pack if you're bronze. You get pack in 500 gold if you're silver. 2 packs in 1,000 gold and a card style. So basically everything is the same at platinum, except at diamond you get 1 extra pack, and mythic you get another additional 1 pack. So if you think it's worth climbing through platinum and diamond to get to mythic for 2 packs, instead of just farming events for your tokens or for ICRs, then you're crazy. That's all we got for the news, though. Yeah, they didn't really give us anything. I was hoping for so much more from the state of the formats. Jay Parker, you let me down. And with that being said, that is it for the Magic news for today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Share the video with somebody you think you might like it. And if you have any strong opinions of your own, make sure to definitely leave those in the comments section, because I do reply to every comment, so leave them. Thank you all so much for watching. If you made it to this point, it means you either really enjoyed the video or you fell asleep and I'm waking you up now. Either way, thank you for all the support. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, come out with videos 7 days a week.